The First Nations Climate Communication Workshop was run by Ian Gumbula, a Yolŋu elder in the Daiwurrugukpagunyu clan from Elcho Island, and Mercy Gumbula, an Ala woman from Nuka. It was supported by university researchers Stephen Bird, me, Nicola Bidwell, and Angel Aquino, who will talk after me. We organised the workshop because Yolŋu face weather hazards like cyclones, thunderstorms and floods, and climate change is making them happen more often and more dangerously. Yolŋu are also the people whose knowledge of country can help prepare for and respond to these dangers. We think more trusted and appropriate communications between Yolŋu and emergency services about the weather can save lives, and we believe we must work together under Yolŋu cultural governance for this to happen. So our workshop aimed to enable leaders from top-end communities and staff from Aboriginal Interpreter Services, AIS, to discuss their opinions about what is needed to make communications about extreme weather better, and Ballanda to listen from NTES, NT Emergency Services, and BOM, the Bureau of Meteorology. We held the workshop at Charles Darwin University from the 16th to the 18th of May 2023. On day one, Yolŋu leaders discussed their experiences, needs and hopes. They looked at different images that Ian and the researchers had already prepared to help get their ideas and their stories started. Then, on day two, both Yolŋu and Ballanda participated in a string game to introduce each other, connect, and show that we need to work together to be strong. After that, we had different conversations in men's, women's, and all-together groups. We discussed about how communities share knowledge about the weather at the moment. Yolŋu said that they rely on their own knowledge about the weather in the country around them. Signs in country tell about the weather will be and what Yolŋu should do, such as signs that it's a good time to gather bush food. Other signs warn about something unusual. For example, just before the big floods, Yolŋu noticed seabirds that are not usually there. Yolŋu's knowledge is for survival. They can use it even when there's no service on the phone. And they said that their kids need to learn it so they don't just rely on technology. Yolŋu knowledge can have better meanings than the information from authorities. Official messages or warnings can be confusing, hurtful or worrying. For instance, some Yolŋu asked, why did Ballanda give a cyclone a certain name? What does it mean? Yolŋu said they get news about weather from TV, not so much from the radio, and they also use their phones to pass around news between communities all over Arnhem Land. They can interpret it between many different languages and dialects themselves in their own communities, even when there's no official AIS interpreter around. Yolŋu made sense of weather messages in their own communities. Creation tells Yolŋu and warns Yolŋu. It's something in the dreaming that causes unusual weather. Ballanda needs to understand not to disturb the sacred sites and destroy the country. If the land is destroyed, Yolŋu feel bad, and disrespecting country actually causes damaging weather. Yolŋu emphasised that Ballanda can make big mistakes in disasters because they do not know the details of country. For instance, an emergency rescue boat might go over a sacred site during a flood because the rescue team haven't asked the right elder for advice.
So, what are the different ideas that people in the workshop had about keeping people safe? Both Yolŋu and Ballanda said that it's important for communities to get ready for big weather. To do this, we need to have the right people sitting and talking together. Good leaders from both Yolŋu side and Ballanda side who have authority about weather knowledge and decisions. We want to have enough time to get the weather story right, understand the bigger picture from both sides, and then decide what we're going to do when a big cyclone or flood or fire comes. One thing that's important is community engagement. Different members of the community need to be involved and come to meetings where we make plans and decisions about the weather. We need the leadership and authority of elders and traditional owners. We also want younger people to get involved and build up their confidence to become good leaders. Everyone should be able to come to the meeting, listen and talk about their side of the story. People from different clans and families, people working in different places, like the school, the clinic, the police station, the ranger group. If a person from one group isn't able to come, it would be good to have someone else be a replacement for them so that we can still hear that group story and then they can bring back what happened in the meeting. Next, we want better ways of sharing knowledge about country, weather, and climate change. Many communities have calendars that show how country changes each season. It would be good to have all of these calendars in one place so that we know what the weather is like, not just in our community, but in other places too. It would also be good to have more knowledge about the bad things that can happen during big weather and information like when to evacuate and what goes in our emergency kits. We can put some of this knowledge into posters at home, or storybooks for children, or even videos on Facebook and TikTok so more people know about these things. We also want better ways to reach out to people when big weather comes. Some communities send people out to different houses. Sometimes we call or text our family and friends if we know something's coming. Sometimes we see news on the TV and the internet telling us to get ready. It's important that we get these messages in local languages and also in simple English so it's easier for everyone to understand. We also need to have the right people saying things in the right way. If a police officer just walks up to a house and tells a family to evacuate all of a sudden, it can be very stressful. It would be better if the police and the emergency mob talk to the elders and TOs about this news first, so that the community leaders can choose how to say things in a way that's right for the community. And most importantly, we want to learn how to work both ways. We know that there's Yolŋu knowledge and there's Balanda knowledge. There's Yolŋu ways of doing and there's Balanda ways of doing. But when we come together, we all want to help the community and keep people safe. We're different, but we're the same. So we need to find ways to put our different kinds of knowledge together. When we meet in the middle, we have to respect and understand both sides of the story. And when we go back to our own mob, we need to be strong and help others see the bigger picture too. So, after the workshop, what are the things that we're already doing? And what do we want to do next? The emergency mob are already planning to go out to communities more and work with Aboriginal liaison officers so that they have maps of cultural sites at the police stations and they know where to go or not to go in an emergency. The weather mob are also working closely with interpreters so that they can get weather news out in local languages. As for Ian, Mercy, and us CDU mob, we'll be reaching out to different communities over the next few years. We want to learn more about what happens on country, how communities are already keeping people safe, and what we could do better. If you also think that this work on big weather in community is important, we hope you can work together with us too. Thank you.